My name is Danica, and today I have my July wrap-up. This is in a completely random order because the last two books I read in July I wasn't a big fan of, so I decided to just intersperse them in here so I wouldn't have to talk about them back to back. So the first one I wanted to talk about was P.S. I Missed You by Jen Petro-Roy. I first heard about this book from the author's Entertainment Weekly article where she talks about how she got turned down from doing a school book tour because most of the schools said her book was too mature. This is a queer middle grade book, and that's something I think we need a lot more of. I'm really excited that we're starting to see more books in that age group because for a long time there's been picture books, there's been young adult, and nothing in between. This is a book about Evie, who is 12, and she is writing letters to her sister, who is 16. Her sister got sent away to live with an aunt after she got pregnant. They come from a very religious family. They're Catholic, and their family is very intense about it and did not approve of her sister getting pregnant. So Evie's trying to process all of this through these letters. Meanwhile, she's starting to get really close to the new girl in school, and she thinks June is so pretty and funny and smart, and June is also an atheist. So this has a lot of stuff going on, and I can see why some teachers and parents would shy away from this because it's all about you questioning what you've been taught and deciding for yourself what is true and what you want to believe. Also, Evie's parents are very flawed people. There's this great parallel between Evie realizing that she might be gay or that she's not straight and fearing telling her parents because she knows that when her sister told her parents about something they didn't approve of, it ended badly for her. Evie hasn't heard back from her sister. She doesn't know if she's okay. She doesn't know what's happening in her life, and she doesn't know why she wouldn't write her back. This is actually a pretty dark and thorny book for what I would expect from middle grade, and it says that whether you're 12 or 16 or an adult, what you feel is important and what you think is important, and that you deserve to explore your own possibilities. This was really well done, and I would highly recommend it for adults or middle graders alike. I will link my full review at the Lesbrary down below because I do have a lot of thoughts about this one. Next, I have one of the books that I didn't like, and that's When Katie Met Cassidy by Camille Perry. I have heard so much buzz about this, and I've heard that it's supposed to be a great fluffy lesbian romance, and it seems like this has been publicized a lot more broadly than lesbian romance usually is. The premise is that Katie, a straight woman who's just been dumped by her fiance, falls for Cassidy, who is kind of a womanizing butch lesbian, fairly stereotypical character. My main problem is that I was told this is like a fun, fluffy, light, kind of cheesy romance, and Katie starts off the book with so many anti-queer and specifically anti-butch thoughts that I just can't see how it's fun and fluffy to read because it's painful to be around that rhetoric. At one point in the book, she is at Cassidy's apartment and she's looking through her stuff for no reason, just because she feels like it, and she knows that Cassidy wears men's clothing, but she is shocked to actually find men's clothing in her clothing drawers, and then she is absolutely appalled when she finds out that Cassidy wears men's briefs. Like, she actually kind of stands up and is like, I can't be here, I need to go, is gonna leave the apartment and not meet her there after all because she is so scandalized by this information, which is so ridiculous to me. I kept feeling like this was a book that was written in the 80s because it just seems completely divorced from modern society except that they have cell phones. The word bisexuality is never used, and neither is it brought up as an idea. Here is Katie, who has been dating men her whole life, and then she falls for this woman and she just says, am I gay or am I not gay? Oh, I must have been gay the whole time, I guess. And nobody, not Katie, not Cassidy, not this whole crew of their lesbian friends, no one suggests that bisexuality might be a possibility. Like, it's totally possible to date men and then find out you're a lesbian. That's not the problem. The problem is that it's not even touched upon as a possibility. Ultimately, I think this book failed for for me because it's a romance. It's about two people falling in love. And I didn't like Katie for her anti-gay sentiments, which are supposed to be because she is like a traditional Southern girl and she doesn't understand these newfangled New York lesbians. But it just seemed so outdated and stereotypical to me. And then there's Cassidy, who feels like a bit of a cardboard cutout of the straight view of a butch lesbian, that she is someone who just sleeps around a lot and doesn't let anyone in and won't connect to anyone emotionally, until, of course, Katie, the straight woman who keeps asking her, hey, why are you gay? She's the exception. I know a lot of people have liked this book, and maybe I'm coming at it from completely the wrong angle. Maybe I just don't get it. I feel like what I did enjoy from this novel, I could get from picking up any random lesbian romance, and I would get less of the homophobia. So I can't imagine really recommending this to anyone. And then I have Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. Ashley Herring Blake wrote How to Make a Wish, which was a 5-star read for me. It's another queer woman YA book. This was a difficult book to read because it's all about rape and rape culture. The main character is Mara. She's bisexual. She has a twin brother, Owen. She's really close to him, and then her best friend accuses Owen of rape. Mara is horrified. She doesn't know how to handle this. Owen denies it. Mara also believes her best friend, and she knows she wouldn't lie about it. So she basically has this split where she wants to believe both of them, and she's trying to keep both of those in her head simultaneously. And as she's trying to deal with this situation, some of her own unaddressed trauma starts bubbling to the surface. This is such a difficult, thorny premise, and with anyone else I would be nervous about how it would be handled, but I knew that I was in good hands with Ashley Herring Blake, and I was absolutely right in that. The way the blurb is written, I was worried that she wouldn't believe Hannah, but that's not really true. She always believes Hannah. She just isn't sure how to come to grips with that being true about her brother, not just an abstract person who did this to her. Although this is a dark and uncomfortable read, it does have some moments of hope. Very vague spoiler, but Mara and Hannah share their experiences and find some strength and support in each other. There's so much going on in this book that I didn't even talk about Charlie, who is Mara's ex, and Mara really misses her. Charlie is also non-binary, and there's this undercurrent of Charlie trying to come to terms with her own gender identity. This book had my stomach in knots, not only because it talks about rape, but because it talks about rape culture. So Owen and Mara's mom, who has always been such a staunch feminist presence in their lives, immediately sides with Owen and immediately believes that Hannah is confused or lying, and most people at school become Team Owen. So Hannah, who's already dealing with this trauma of going through the experience, also has to deal with this backlash that she's getting from people. And Mara really wants to help and support Hannah, but Hannah's parents and her friends don't really believe that she would side against her brother, so they don't really want her near Hannah. It's also difficult because it deals with what do you do when a rapist is someone that you know, who is part of your family or part of your community? What do you do when it's not someone you can easily remove from your life? So it's a really difficult read. I sped through it partly because her writing style is fantastic, it's really well done, but also because I kind of just wanted to be done with it. I wanted to be out of that situation as quickly as I could because it was so painful to read. But at the same time, this was another 5-star book for me. I thought it was incredibly done, but definitely make sure that you're in an okay place to read this because it is very intense. On to the next book that I didn't really enjoy. That's Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg. And that's a little misleading because I did enjoy reading it for the most part. I wrote a really long, in-depth review of the Lesbrary, so definitely check that out if you want to know my full thoughts. Basically, there's a lot of things going on in this book. There's a lesbian relationship that I thought was going to be subtext, but it's really canonical. They say that they're in love with each other, so I don't know why that would be subtext. And I really liked certain aspects of it. I liked the tone. I got drawn into the nostalgia of the Whistle Stop town. There were some things that were just kind of weird that I thought were interesting intellectually, but I don't know actually worked very well in the novel. But ultimately, I can't really recommend it because the race representation is not good, which is a shame because I think that it was going for something that was questioning the racism in the book, but because the black characters are so stereotypical and because they really only exist to help support the white people's storylines, it just doesn't work. I understand that it might be accurate to the 1920s or to someone who grew up in the 1920s to just be spouting random racist opinions, but that doesn't mean I want to read about them. You have the main characters who are supposed to be good people who are supposed to not be racist, but who are saying the N-word and who just hang out with a KKK member. I'm gonna finish with a book that I absolutely loved, and that was The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. This is so cute. First of all, this book is gorgeous. Every part of it is gorgeous. End papers are cute. Even the title pages are adorable. I love the layouts of the pages. There's just so much intricate detail on every page. Like that color palette. And then you have all the tea dragons. They're so cute. Tea dragons are these little delicate dragons you take care of, and they grow little tea leaves that you can use to make tea that has magical properties, so you can access memories and things like that. But mostly they're just adorable and they're very loyal and they live for a really long time, so it's a really big deal if you're going to become a caretaker of a tea dragon. I also just loved all the characters. This is Greta, main character. She's trying to become a blacksmith, which is a skill that is kind of dying out. And this is Minette. She is also training to take care of tea dragons. She's very shy and quiet because she's lost her memories, and they form this very sweet little friendship. And these two are the ones who are training them how to take care of tea dragons, and they're also just a really cute gay couple who used to be adventurers together and have kind of retired to taking care of tea dragons. First of all, I think I could frame any two-page spread in this whole book and put it up on my wall. They're all beautiful works of art, and the story was so sweet. This is just the most heartwarming book I've ever read. I love it. So those were the books that I read in July. I didn't read a ton, but I seem to have some extremes of emotions this month. I think I only read books that were 5 stars, absolutely loved them, or like, I didn't like this at all, don't read this. Let me know if you have a wrap up. Feel free to link it down below and I'll definitely check it out. Also, let me know if you've read any of these and what you've thought of them, and thank you for watching.